Okay, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to do an update video just explaining the training method I've been using for the last 2 months as part of my running workouts. One, so that it gives me the ability to look back on and just see if I'm improving. And two, it might be useful for someone who's just starting out and is unfamiliar with this type of training as well. So last year I signed up for a half Ironman and Spartan ultra race. For the first time I did any real running, swimming and cycling training, and I basically just winged it. I was basically going off just pace and not really listening to how my body felt really from session to session. If one of my sessions said I had to run at this pace for that workout, then even if I was feeling pretty crap, I just went for it. I didn't really know much about easy runs and training in certain heart rate zones, building an aerobic base, all that kind of stuff. This year, however, I decided to look in a bit more detail around training and take it a bit more seriously. Found out that your runs should ideally be an 80-20 split, so 80% low intensity and then 20% high intensity. So the low intensity stuff sets the foundation, I guess you could say, before the speed work comes in later on in the training phase. When I look back at my training last year for those events, I'd probably say it was a 50-50 split between low intensity versus high intensity. If not, maybe slightly higher on the high intensity side of things. My easy runs really weren't that easy, which probably led to a lot of poor quality speed workouts in the end. And then I also picked up a few injuries here and there, mostly stuff to do with shin splints and things like that. So the current training method that I'm using is called the Maffetone Method, or some people call it the MAF Method, or people like to say it's running slow to run fast. The Maffetone Method is basically a style of training that uses a heart rate formula of 180 minus your age to come up with an aerobic maximum heart rate that the majority of your runs should follow, and you shouldn't exceed during your runs to build aerobic fitness or endurance. You can also subtract this number further if you're recovering from injury and just returning back to running. I think I may have read this slightly wrong when starting out, as I thought you had to keep your average heart rate below the calculated maximum heart rate. So for me it's 154 beats per minute, but I think it's actually meant to be that your heart rate doesn't go above 154 in your runs. But one thing I'd say is it's quite difficult when you're not training on a track like I am. I'm just going out for runs, so there obviously is hills, which means your heart rate is going to spike a little bit at points. Now, looking online, there's a few claimed benefits about this training method. One, it helps you build a stronger aerobic base, helps you stop using pace to determine what is an easy run. Instead, your body tells you what an easy run is. Doing low intensity runs helps you to improve your recovery. Doing low intensity runs correctly allows you to have better quality workouts on your speed work days. And also doing easy runs correctly will help hopefully prevent injuries and improve your running endurance. So it's quite a straightforward training program. Basically, you're trying to keep the majority of your runs at a low heart rate. Now, when it comes to tracking your heart rate, most sports watches have the ability to do that these days. However, again, based on what I've read online, to get more accurate information of that, it's probably better to wear a chest strap heart rate monitor. Obviously all well and good seeing this on paper, but I was quite intrigued to see the actual results of doing this kind of method and how it impacted my running basically. One other thing to note is that all of my runs have been based off time. I started with 30-minute runs and I've gradually increased them over the following weeks. So basically I never set out to run a certain distance, just a certain obviously time. That way it makes it a lot easier for me to track my progress and just see if obviously I'm covering more distance in a given time period. So let's start with the 30-minute runs that I've been doing. So as you can see, run 1 on January the 21st was 4.82 kilometers, a 6:14 average pace, and an average heart rate of 143 beats per minute. So that's kind of my starting point. That's where I'm at when starting this. As you can see, run 2, run 4, good progression already with the average heart rate lower than the first run and more distance covered each time. Run 6, more distance covered again, but obviously the heart rate was a little higher, but you can see that my average pace has got gradually quicker. And when you compare run 12 with run 1, as they have the same heart rate, so it's quite a good comparison I think. 4.82 kilometers covered versus 5.20 kilometers covered. For me, that's a solid improvement. And it kind of shows that the method is working. And obviously with this method, some runs are going to be slower, I think. From my experience, Some of these runs, my legs felt quite heavy and I just didn't feel great. So going off how your body feels might be better than just say sticking to a certain pace that you have to hit for that workout. Next, 40-minute runs and 45-minute runs. I haven't done too many of these, as you can see, and my average heart rate is a lot higher in these versus 30-minute runs. So probably hard to give a clear comparison, but I guess run 15 versus run 22, more distance, faster pace, lower average heart rate. As you can tell, those are the things I'm kind of looking for more than anything. Can I run further with a lower heart rate? Because I think based on what I've read and understood, that's kind of the whole principle of this training method. Now, the 1 hour runs. So my focus is try and make these the majority of my midweek runs from now on. Sunday long runs hopefully are going to be being 1 hour, 30 minutes plus moving forward. So first hour run was run number 7, 9.93 kilometers, a 6:03 pace, and an average heart rate of 147 beats per minute. Obviously, you can clearly start to see the progression in terms of pace throughout these runs. At times, the average heart rate was slightly higher than I probably wanted, but when you compare run 7 to run 23, for me, that's great progression, and that's what I'm looking for. Like I said, more distance covered, faster pace, and a lower average heart rate. Longer than 1 hour. I've only done one run so far, and as you can see, I was right on the limit of what my average heart rate should be. Obviously, like I said, I didn't realize you had to keep your heart rate under your maximum calculated heart rate the entire time. Some of these runs, I go into like 160 beats per minute because obviously I'm going up a hill or something, and then as I get to the top of that hill, my heart rate comes back down. So on a side note though, I have also done 2 speed sessions with all this training in the last 2 months. So mostly low heart rate training, but there's also been a couple of speed workouts thrown in there. Now, how much I can actually keep progressing with this training method alone with limited speed work or even no speed work, I don't know, to be honest. Ultimately, the best results I think are gonna come when I start incorporating more speed work. But I think for now, it's just important to build a strong aerobic base, and that's pretty much what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking to do at the moment. So far, I must say I am enjoying this training method. I'll do another update in about a month or so, but I do just want to clarify, I'm not a running coach or anything like that. This is literally based on information and research I found online, and it's just based on my experience of doing this training method. Obviously, what works for one person might not work for someone else, so it's just about kind of finding what works for you, I guess, more than anything. If anything I've said in here is inaccurate, please let me know. That's the video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.